RPG 그대로의 RPG 불멸의 전사 2.
What's up, guys? We've got the ace match here between Afreeca Freaks and MVP GuMiho. It will be a rematch of Game 2 Super against GuMiho, and I'm pretty excited for this game, Valdez.
This is going to be pretty insane. I mean, we're going on a different map. It's going to be Lilac Crest, a bit of a bigger one, a 4-player map, but GuMiho got the best of Super last time, but it was very close.
Like, all the games that we've had so far in this series have been so close, except for maybe Curious's departure.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this series has been one of the best series so far that we've had in Pro League, and to see the voting here, everyone except for Daehyun going
just
for GuMiho.
Daehyun.
Yeah.
Just Daehyun going for Super. That's really interesting. I mean, Super he was about to win, right? It was so close.
Like, that game was like
GuMiho just
razor thin.
barely held on. Let's go into game number 5, the ace match between Super and GuMiho. Down here in the bottom left, the Protoss player from the Afreeca Freaks is Super, back again.
And spawning at the top left, here with vertical spawn positions, light blue Terran for MVP GuMiho, it is GuMiho. Thanks for coming to the studio, guys. I don't have this earphones, but I am Lion Wong from Tencent. Or maybe they're from Riot? I'm not too sure. I can't read it.
Well, from Tencent at least, so yeah, pretty much.
Riot China? I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah.
But
who knows about that weird League of Legends thing anyway?
Yeah. Oh, same person. Once
He's
again.
back. Same sign.
He's reusing the sign.
He's been waiting for this moment his whole life.
He was waiting for GuMiho to win the ace match.
Yeah.
He would have just ripped his sign up if GuMiho didn't show up again.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I missed my chance.
But yeah, we have vertical spawns here, which means that the players will be most likely expanding towards the east side of the map. We'll also allow for drops to just scoot by the left side of the map. So Super can probably just place one observer there and scout all the drops that come that way, forcing GuMiho to go all the way around the map if he decides to drop.
Super going to take this expand now, going for that gate nexus score. It's been pretty, especially when you go for this early of a scout, this is just a very safe build nowadays. It's very standard. You just get that nexus out very fast. It delays your tech, yes, but as long as you're not going for any kind of proxy, it's okay. Bigger map like this, it kind of makes sense. He did it before on Orbital Shipyard as well. Is finally going to find GuMiho here.
Yeah, and here's the first Marine here. He's actually going to deny that probe coming into the base. That could be, that could have big repercussions for Super later on into this game if GuMiho does decide to do some sort of weird attack. We might see that +1 in timing at the end. We'll just have to wait and see.
And take a look at these positions. I feel like natural to natural, this might actually be closer than Orbital Shipyard.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I mean, GuMiho, he had the timing down right, and sometimes you don't do it perfectly your first game on TV, right? But second time you come in here, if you're just going to do it and you feel like it's really strong, and he does it again, he could hit that timing really quickly, unlike Ryung did, and be really on point. And yeah, I like the positions here in terms of favoring GuMiho for sure.
Well, we do see GuMiho is not actually getting that tech lab onto the factory. He's actually opting to go for these early Hellions. So we might see a Marine Hellion drop come here from GuMiho. And if Super's not careful about what the next few units he's going to build, it could do a lot of damage.
And it looks like Super's going to delay that Twilight Council for a while here.
Yeah, I think he just wants to be really safe, get the Observer out.
Yeah, gets the Observer, but also the Mothership Core pretty early on just to make sure that he's not dying to anything. There's the Observer and the extra 2 gates.
Yeah, he just needs to have the optimal pylon placements for those overcharges, or else the mineral lines will, the probes on the minerals will just get decimated by this upcoming drop.
And I think he learned his lesson in terms of when he faced that last build from GuMiho. He did not have the pylons ready in front of all of his gateways at the third base and orbital shipyard. So definitely preparing. Here comes the drop.
Here comes the drop, and oh, it looks like we might see GuMiho try and ferry those Hellions. No, it looks like he's going to go for a straight drop here. And he's actually evacuating the probes here, Super.
And look at this, all the Marines are just going to drop on top of the Stalkers and get immediately surrounded. And here come the Hellions. A little bit too late. They were on attack command going after the pylon, but he's going to drop now, and he is going to just fight against these Stalkers with Hellions, and it's not working out too badly.
There's a pylon overcharge, though, from Super, but he's going to be able to at least delay this expansion for quite some time, at least until the next warp-in does come in. And those two Stalkers are very low, but there is that fresh warp-in, so no probe kills, I think. I don't remember seeing any probe kills. Were there probe kills?
I don't believe so. Let me take a look. It looks like maybe...
No, he lost that probe earlier on for scouting, so no probe kills there, which is actually quite unfortunate from GuMiho. He was banking on those Hellions to do a lot of damage to those probes, but Super's actually doing a good job, but as I say that, drop here at the back, and this is GuMiho's
all the Stalkers are across the map.
Yeah.
He's coming in here. Here's the Widow Mine. Takes out one
Mine.
Stalker for free. Overcharge is going to totally shut down those Hellions, though.
But this Widow Mine does do some splash damage onto those Stalkers, but the Stalkers do waltz into that expansion. That expansion is going to be stopping mining temporarily until the next round of units do come after GuMiho. But GuMiho is just being so obnoxious with his one medevac and Marine. It's forcing Super to come back here.
One Marine, even without stim, can do a world of hurt if it's not dealt with, that's for sure. Highest DPS in the game. Finally gets that tank out.
And there's that Raven as well that is always used by GuMiho. The MVP Terrans, I guess. It seems to be their trademark, is that early Raven. This, once again, that Observer does get blown up by the Widow Mine and the Marine Fire. As Super's just regathering his army right now. Maybe, I'm not really sure what GuMiho wants to do with this Banshee. He obviously wants to harass, but I'm not sure if it was the best course of action, especially knowing that Observers are out on the map.
Yeah, he hasn't committed to the cloak. He's just kind of going to throw it across the map. I mean, I suppose he already had the tech lab on that starport, and he's like, I could just throw this out here, you know, keep Super on his side of the map and keep him defending.
Oh, it looks like Super sniffed this Banshee out, and yep, the Banshee has to move back. The Observer is just there to be safe in the case that GuMiho has the cloak, which he doesn't. And looks like GuMiho is actually posturing to take that third base rather than going for the timing that we saw in the previous game on Orbital Shipyard.
Well, he's making that reactor on the starport right now. It looks like this Banshee, if it's not moved, okay, it is moved and does get out of the way here. That is just a Marine over there by that third base, so not going to throw down the third base just yet.
Ah, I thought it was an SCV, my mistake. But this third base is up for Super, and the gateways are up as well. And are we waiting for, is GuMiho waiting for certain upgrades to finish? I haven't seen the...
Looks like stim and combat shields.
But there's no +1 upgrades from GuMiho.
Well, so there it is, but it's not going to line up.
Yeah.
So kind of with all the shenanigans that happened early on in this game, it kind of cut away at the timing that GuMiho had, and I feel like Super is going to be very stable by the time it does eventually get to the point where GuMiho wants to push across the map.
Yeah, we do see the additional production facilities and barracks there at the expansion of GuMiho, and we haven't really seen a sign of a third base coming from GuMiho, so I'm not really... I honestly don't know what the course of action, the best course of action for GuMiho is. He's trying to harass with his Bit Banshee, but the Observer sniffs it out. These Stalkers are nicely placed, and the Warp Prism's out here for Super, so he's going to be able to harass with that.
Let's see, this drop is coming in. As you were saying, the Warp Prism. He's got his Stalkers at the front. Blink is finished at this point, but 4 tanks and a Widow Mine, not something you would want to blink into. Perhaps he wants to force a reaction here first from the Widow Mine, or rather the drop here.
Oh, I love that place Banshee there. Knowing that that's the only area where Super can drop his units. Always going to get a shot off at the dropped units of Super. And it looks like Super's posturing to... Actually, no, he's just recollecting his army right now. And Super's going to see that the third base isn't taken, so alarm bells must be ringing for Super right here.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that he's out on the map. I suppose maybe he just wants to force... He knows the composition. He saw it last time. Maybe he just wants to force him to siege over and over. I highly doubt he would actually commit to this. Okay.
No, I think the best course of action is... Oh, nice blink, actually. He's going to deny this, most likely. At least it's going to stop the SV, and I think it's going to force the cancel. But it looks like we're going to see a counterattack here, taking advantage of the fact that Super did blink some of these Stalkers, and here comes the fight.
Here comes the fight, but so many units here for the Protoss, but a really nice concave with those Marines, but at the same time, the tanks are forced to pick up, and GuMiho is not going to win this fight. He needs to get back up that ramp.
PDDs as well, just wasn't enough here from GuMiho, but a nice sizable amount of damage onto his depths. But with that third base cancelled, it feels like GuMiho is just he's feeling really antsy now.
Yeah, he is going to try to siege up here now, and Super staying a fourth base. He knows the position he's in. He feels very, very safe. He won that fight there, forced GuMiho back on 3 bases to 2. He should be feeling pretty good about his situation.
Yeah, and we see a shade in there, but there's no reason to sacrifice his army. He needs the best concave possible to fight against an army of what GuMiho has. The tanks are essential for GuMiho here. If he loses those tanks, then this army is just completely garbage. And finally breaks his own rocks. Tries to get some harassment here, but nothing to it.
2 probes, finally. That Banshee was itching for some damage this entire game.
And I think GuMiho is just going to float that command center at the main base on the third.
He's just like, I guess I'm just playing a 2-base economy at this point, and I'm stuck on this composition, you know. Upgrades right now, he's only got +1 with the stim and the combat shields, and that's about it. He's adding in Liberators, definitely will help, but high Stalker count should be enough as long as he doesn't blink underneath any tank fire.
Once that 4th base gets saturated from Super, then I'd find it really hard for GuMiho to do anything, because his Super's economy is just going to be vastly superior to what GuMiho has, so he's going to be able to just outproduce raw power. But we'll see GuMiho just slowly pushing forward with these Liberators, with these tanks.
Yep. Finally, that 3rd base, or the main orbital does land there. Look at this concave now. He's like, okay, you can push into me. I know I've got an extra couple of bases on you. Go ahead and try it.
I think what GuMiho should do in this instance is try and use the high ground to his advantage. I think he should just not push down directly through that left side. I think he should just use the high ground with those tanks, try and get some shells into those into the army of Super, and just whittle Super's army down. But it looks like he's just very adamant of just sitting here below his ramp right now. Oh, here comes the attack.
The tanks are not sieged up here. PDD does come down. He is going to shade in now. Is he going to commit to it? That is a lot of tanks, but that's also a very high number of adepts. Looks like he's going to commit to some harassment here instead.
And Super's nearly maxed out right now, so I think he can start taking the trades as long as they're favorable, of course, because he has that 4th base running quite comfortably. He hasn't taken the gases on that base, though, so it doesn't look like he's thinking of getting either Tempest or the Liberators or the... oh, here we go. Here comes the attack.
Oh, man, that's so many Immortals in the back. I think this is just way too much Protoss. The Liberator's not even fighting in this fight. And still so many of these Immortals are still left over, but GuMiho is fighting back. He's still staying alive somehow, some way.
Oh, man, these Marines just doing so much damage. And especially with those Liberators as well, just helping help zone out the army of Super. But Super is doing another warp in here, and I think he might be going for another attack with this warp in.
He's got a very big number of adepts at this point, but still enough Liberators remain, I should say, just 3. His 4th base hasn't really been oversaturated. He's sitting at 60 probes. Now he begins some probe production.
Yeah, surprised that he hasn't transferred those probes from the main base to that 4th base. I'm pretty sure that main base is oversaturated right now.
He's got like 4 minerals right now.
Yeah,
here we go.
Oh, this concave from Super is so good.
Oh, it is so good. And all the SCVs are going to come down and try to help out in the fight. The tank does siege up in the back, but I love the barriers here. The second the Immortals get targeted down, they barrier up, and that just may be it.
Oh, it feels like MVP's dreams of making the playoffs are dwindling. And look at GuMiho. He's just frustrated so much.
That is such a rough spot for him to be in. GG is called, and Afreeca wins and gets their first win of round 2. And as you said, MVP is denied any chance of making it into the playoffs.
with that 2-0 lead, they couldn't clean it up, and even the ace of MVP, GuMiho, he couldn't do it. I mean, I have to give props to Afreeca. I mean, patience, playing really well against Ryong. Bomber against Forte, that was a very good performance from Bomber. And Super, we saw in that second game, he could have won that game in so many times, but he lost it, but that was a 50-50. With the safe match, he shows why he is known as the PvT sniper in Pro League.
Yeah, I mean, he is doing quite well for himself, whereas the rest of his team perhaps is struggling for the rest of the round. GuMiho was sent there as the ace to try to give them some life, to give them the playoffs, you know, or give them a chance at least. And it was, you know, it was expected, especially with KT probably going to win, that they should be getting into the playoffs, but now they're not. Just like that.
So I'm just going to have a quick look. So what was the situation if MVP lost? It would be CJ or Samsung qualify, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so...
Because KT is no, if KT loses 2, then there is a chance that I think Samsung and CJ get in somehow, but
yeah.
Go ahead and take a look at that as we look at these results. Departure and GuMiho win the first 2 matches, but then Patience, Bomber, and Super punching a hole through the dreams of MVP, essentially saying, nuh-uh, we're the only team that's, you know, not higher tier that gets to have a chance at playoffs ever.
All right, so if MVP lost, so KT definitely in, and if KT win, then CJ would qualify. If KT lose, then Samsung will qualify. It's as simple as that.
Wow, okay. So there you go. A lot on the line here. Essentially, you said if KT win, then CJ qualifies, right?
Yep.